Hello, everyone. This is Rudy Giuliani back with another Rudy's Common Sense, another episode. And this one should normally be the last one before the Tuesday election, but I think it's the penultimate one. What does that mean? We may have one more on Sunday or Monday because next Wednesday, we'll just be celebrating, I hope. I'm not over optimistic, but I'm going to take you through these sort of as an overview. And then I'm going to ask you if you've got questions about this. There's a way to question me on it. You go to, you've got several options. At 8 o'clock every night now until the election, I will be on YouTube. I'll be on Facebook. Good chance we'll be on Getter as well. We may well be on Instagram, but we'll be on those three for sure. So between 8 and 9, even a little bit later, you can call me and ask me questions about this until we get together again. Of course, you can get me on WABCRadio.com anywhere in the country between 3 and 4 this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, every day but Saturday. And then on Sunday, the best show of all, with Dr. Ryan, Uncovering the Truth. That's between 10 and 11, and we'll devote that to the election this weekend. And then you can also get me on bbsradio.com. That would be on Thursday between 5 and 7. And then on election night, Tuesday, between 6 and 7. And we will do an election night special also for you. But we'll give you more information about that. So there are plenty of ways to follow up on this. Or you can just go to rudygiulianics.com and send me a text. And we're anxious to hear him because, you know, it's your reaction tells us a lot about how close we are to getting this right and how close we are to getting it wrong. So I studied as much as I could of the different, the obvious ones are the Cook Report and Real Clear Politics, separate analysis of that, and then all of the different polls. There's the Republicans, the Democrats. Can they try to get it down to as close as it is on this would be, I remember running, this is like the last moment that a candidate really looks at polls. The campaign manager looks at the tracking polls all weekend. Some even do away with tracking polls because they say by now, it's all when they pull out. Polls don't matter anymore. It's either there, it's not there, and you're going to pull it out or you're not going to pull it out. So put your emphasis on getting up off your backside and knocking on doors and making calls. But here's what it looks like. So let's first take a look at the Senate. So we will put up on the board what appears to be the most recent of the Senate numbers. 2022 Senate Election Interactive Map. This is a Cook Political Report, 2022 Senate ratings. So it has a number that I would tell you is wrong. I'm going to tell you exactly how it's wrong, and then we're going to come up with our number. And in that way, we'll go through the analysis. Essentially, there are, according to Giuliani, not the Cook Political Report, let's see if we match, there are 36 Democratic seats in the Senate. There are 29 Republican seats in the Senate, no matter what happens. So it's not going to change. They're elected. They don't come up for 2 to 4 years. There's another 8 safe Dem seats and 14 safe Republican seats. Now, Cook only has 13 safe Republican seats. I have 14. And I'm right and he's wrong, and don't bother worrying about it. Cook hasn't been right since before Lincoln, I think. They always underpoll. Please be assured they always underpoll Republicans. I don't remember, and there probably are some that I wasn't involved in, but I don't remember a race in which a Democrat did better than expected Oh, it didn't do better than expected. I'm sorry. And I don't remember a race in which a Republican ever did better than I don't ever remember a Republican that ever did as bad as expected. So let's put it this way. In my races for mayor, whether I won one and I won two, I lost one very narrowly, I won one very narrowly, and I won one by a landslide. All three of those races, I was behind anywhere from 3 to 12 points on election day. Except the one that I won big, and I was only ahead by 6, and I won by 18. So I'm trying to tell you something about the pollsters. So here's where it stands right now. According to Giuliani, and I should tell you also the Real Clear Politics map, but I'm showing you the less favorable Republican map. There are, according to Cook, there are 47 sure Republicans, 48 sure Democrats. So 36 would fall in the column in which we say sure Democrat. 29 would fall in the column sure Republican. Then we have 8 safe Democrat seats and 14 safe Republican seats. Okay? So that's pretty much a pretty darn good prediction of where things will absolutely be. Cook undercounts both of those by 1. So we have 36 and 8 is 44 relative safe Dems, and we have 43 safe Republicans. All right. Then we go into the likely and the leans. The Dems only have 3 likely and leans. 3 of those. And they basically are Colorado. Let's look at some of those there. New Hampshire. By the way, wrong. Wrong. They're wrong about New Hampshire. New Hampshire, Colorado. Let's see if we can find a third one. New Hampshire, Colorado. The state of Washington is likely, not leans. And state of Hawaii is definite. I'm trying to find the other leaner. Well, it's here somewhere because they have. I'm sorry, the Cook report has only 2 leans. And then they put 5 into the toss-up category. So the way I look at it, when you finish with all that gobbledygook, you have 49 Democratic seats, Republican seats, that are in the safe or are in the for sure safe and likely lean category. And you got about 46 Dems. And then you have 2, they have tilting Dem, which makes it 49-46 or 49-49. Now, who are the tilts? So let's now go over what we got left. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 states left. We have 10 states left. And I'm going to do it for you in the order in which they are considered by Cook, who should be working for the Democrat Party, Democrat. First one that he feels is the strongest in terms of tilting Democrat is Arizona. That's Kelly against Masters. That race has Kelly ahead by 1 in 2 polls and has Masters ahead by 2 in 1 poll. What do you call that? We take that one right out of that tilting Democrat column, and we make that. Arizona is a straight toss-up. Nobody can put that anywhere right now. Georgia. Georgia, they have Democrat tilting also. Georgia first of all, Walker is going to get more votes than Warnock by 1% or 2%. Question is, can he carry over the 50% mark? Right now, and I'm going to keep this until Monday. Right now, I would say, let's make that one a runoff. I don't think either Warnock or Walker, and I want Walker to make it for sure. I'm a big supporter, endorsed him, work for him. But I'm giving you my objective advice here. I think this is a runoff. I think nobody gets 50, and I think Walker will have. Like about a 1-point lead, maybe even a half-point lead, largely because the state really is conventionally Republican, really. And Kemp is beating the living daylights out of Abrams. I mean, it's in double digits and growing. That has to ultimately help Walker. It's going to keep a few people off the Warnock ballot. And some of those people going for Kemp are going to go over and go for Walker because the reasons they're going for Kemp incline them toward Walker. And the scandals have now kind of evened out when we find out that Warnock, ran over his wife, beat up his wife, has an unbelievably history. So, but these were listed as like leaning, tilting Democrat, whatever the heck that means. They're not tilted anywhere. Georgia, if anything, if I had to make a real pick and to win, I pick Walker. Arizona, I still not sure. I'm still not sure. I think the last 3 weeks, Masters has gone tough, but I don't think I can tell you for sure. And frankly, I don't know the race as well as some of the others, so I'm not going to go mislead you where my knowledge isn't as great as when we get into some of these other races, which I gotta tell you are kind of crazy here. So now we get into the races that have been considered do we call them likely Repub? Likely, those were the toss-ups that lean. It's Nevada and Georgia. And now we go to the ones that are put for some reason in the toss-up category. The first one in that category that doesn't belong in that category is and I think the one that most likely doesn't belong in that category is the state of Wisconsin. Johnson will win that, and he's leading now by more than a margin of error almost everywhere. Johnson will beat Barnes in that election. That's Johnson and Barnes. So, we'll get really fancy here. We'll write it out in blue, but we'll put a little red mark there. We'll put a little red mark there. Okay. Then we come to Nevada, which is also a toss-up state for these boys here. It's also a toss-up state. I don't see that at all. I think Laxalt beats Mastos. I think so. And I think by a little less, I'm doing it in the order in which I think it's going to be Republican victories here. So I would say this one is as strong as. So this is a hold. This is a pickup. Okay, and we haven't lost a seat yet, or are in jeopardy of losing a seat, because these are both now Georgia and Arizona. These two are right now Democrat seats. So we So we're doing pretty well. I'm going to change this to blue when I get a chance. But okay, so now we're at Nevada. So now we've got 4 of the 8 that will, or 10 that will determine the election. Now we go to one that maybe I should have put, and these two maybe I should have put in front. That would be North Carolina and North Carolina, and for some strange reason, I don't believe this. Well, they have Iowa here as leaning Republican, as it should be. So let's go to the other map that they're working with here. And this is Senate election maps. There we are, Senate election maps. All right. So, North Carolina is going to end up being a Republican state, and I would take that one off the chart as a leaner. That's just a state that we know we're going to win. We get North Carolina off there, and we go to Iowa, where there is some doubt. There is some doubt about Grassley. Don't see it, and I will therefore just knock it right out. And I would say the same thing with Utah and Florida, races that are put in the likely and leaning category. So I would say those we can make Republican as well as Florida. So now, if we go back to the map, right? Now let's go back to the map. I think we've gotten everybody. I think we've gotten everybody in. We've got in Florida. We've got in Iowa. We've got Utah. We've got North Carolina. We haven't done Ohio, but that's going to be, Ohio is, still considered, they're looking at it, but that's Vance. Vance wins that one. And he wins that one gaining, I would say. I don't have any question about it. And I think Johnson beats Barnes. I think that's a pretty much built into the charts. I don't have any problems with the race for Grassley, as I told you. So that's going to happen. And I think and Rubio. So we come down now to the last of the most unusual race of all, and that's the one in PA, the state that was the most unusual in 2024. Hard to believe that Fetterman is leading in some polls. Average all the polls out, Oz has got a lead a little beyond the margin of error, if that. You could argue that Fetterman's ahead. I wouldn't want to, but you could. But I am going to go just on my gut instinct here, just to say that I cannot believe for the life of me that the state of Pennsylvania, after watching Fetterman really make a very successful application for a hospital for about a 2-month rehab, like Biden makes a very successful application with a speech the other night for a nursing home, isn't going to be accepted for the mental. I don't mean mental hospital. He's mentally ill, but mental hospital to take care of his brain damage. And I think people in Pennsylvania are also going to realize how cruel this is, because people who have had strokes of that magnitude should be resting. They shouldn't be put under stress. And what's more stress than this? So I see, ultimately, when you want to play around with this map here, this map that I have in front of me, which is this latest one that we'll put up, is 4949. So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll review that map, and we'll show you the finals on the Senate, and we'll do the House, and then give you sort of a general overview of the whole thing. We'll be right back. You know, with the recent ruling from the Supreme Court on vindicating life, which was supposed to have a big impact on this election, and right now it doesn't seem to be. It seems like economy, crime, open border, Biden's mental state, Fetterman's mental state, the sort of idea that the Democrats are running at least, or have at least two people they want in public office that seem to be non-compass menace. It seems like a tremendous condescending attitude by them. But with all of that and all of the things that are happening that are moving this country, God willing, back to being a solid conservative country, I mean, we've had to have a lot of support for that. And Patriot Mobile is one of the biggest supporters. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative mobile phone provider. And they have been on the front lines fighting for you for a long time. Not only that, they are aware of the economy. They are aware of inflation. They're not inflation deniers like the Democrats. And therefore, they've got deals for you. And the coverage that you'll get, the mobile coverage you'll get, will be just as good as any of those big fancy names. And you'll be helping not only, you know, yourself with regard to service, but you'll be helping the causes that you agree in. You get the same great service. And you know that your money is going for religious freedom, freedom to defend yourself, the freedom to protect your children, due process of law, all the things that are in jeopardy right now under this administration that you got to remember to go out and vote against on Tuesday, if you haven't already. And then go to patriotmobile.com/Rudy or call 972-PATRIOT. Use the offer code Rudy to get free activation. PatriotMobile.com/Rudy. That's PatriotMobile.com/Rudy. If you're a veteran or a first responder, special deals, as there should be. PatriotMobile.com/Rudy. PatriotMobile.com/Rudy or 972-PATRIOT. Do it now. Thank you for returning. So I was working off a map so that I don't make you too optimistic. I was working off a map that's rather pro-Democrat. Now I'm going to show you one that I guess you could argue is rather pro-Republican, and then I'm going to tell you where I am, okay? So this is a map that ends up with Republicans at 54 and Democrats at 46 in the House. That's a net change of 4. Now, what would that do? How would that come about? That would come about, and the way they get there is as follows. They get there by making Georgia, so just so that you can keep up with it here, let's do it again. They make it possible by taking, and we're going to go red now, of course. They take New Hampshire, Boldock, right? They take Georgia. I think if we put the map up, you'll see that. They take then, and those are in red lined indications because they're not sure, leaning, likely, almost there. A few more polls where they're ahead than behind. Arizona and Nevada. And they make them R. Okay. And then the rest go in solid R. The rest go in as solid R. So they say Pennsylvania is basically over. Oz has won that. North Carolina has been over for quite some time. Florida is over. That's been over for quite some time, with a little bit of concern here and there. They put Georgia here rather than in Republican column. To the extent that there was any concern about Grassley in Iowa, they have it solidly Grassley. Or they do the same thing with Utah, which was one that had some question. And they end up with 54 Republican seats and 46 Democratic seats, which means that people near microphones in Washington will now be much safer because Chuck Schumer will not be knocking them down. Now, where are the question marks here? Well, I mean, to be perfectly, straight about this, New Hampshire, I believe, is going to be Republican, but I don't know that I make it solid yet. I'm going there in a couple of days, and I'll tell you when I get there. Georgia, I told you, I think Georgia is going to be a runoff. So I don't think we're going to find out about Georgia until December. I think Walker's going to have the plurality of votes, but I think that's going to go to a runoff. Arizona, of the two, Arizona or Nevada, and only because of Kelly's history with his wife and being an astronaut, and not because Masters hasn't come back masterfully. I will, for the purposes of safety, I'll come back to it, make this a question mark. Okay, I'll make this a question mark. We'll put that Democratic question mark there. And I'll make this almost definitely. Okay? North Carolina is definitely, Florida is definitely, Iowa is definitely, Utah is definitely. Pennsylvania is definitely. Okay, so I'm comfortable with these here. Okay, which would make it a 50-50 Democrat. That's why I have a blue here, because Harris now all we have to do, if we can keep Pennsylvania against Fetterman, who increasingly doesn't seem to know where he is, North Carolina, Florida, Iowa, and Utah, which we're definitely going to win. This will take us down from that 50. This will take us to 50 votes right here. 50. To get the majority, we need to win one. Win one of four. Want to put them in order you think is the most likely we're going to win. And we're going to go over this again, have a lot of fun on the podcast, on our special podcast, which we'll try to get out on Sunday or Monday, depending on when we get all the facts and figures in. I got a lot of people to talk to. I mean, I talked to Dick Morris, I talked to Steve Bannon, I talked to some Democratic pollsters who don't want you to know I'm talking to them. I talk to, and I get the internals of other polls. I can spend the whole weekend looking at this, and I'll be campaigning also for some candidates. I can't tell you exactly who. Well, I can tell you I'll be in New Hampshire for some of them, possibly also Pennsylvania. But which one am I the most certain of these? I'm going to tell you what. Maybe because I've campaigned with him the most when he ran before. I like Laxalt here, right here. I think he'll be the first one to take us to 51. I always like 52 because at 51, God forbid somebody dies. And you're back to President Harris, which is what he calls her. So where would I go second for my choice here? I think we ultimately get this, but we don't get this until December. So that would get us to 52, but in December. Bolduc's going to win. He had a great debate. I watched the whole thing, stayed up all night last night because I watched about 4 debates. His was the best. His was the best. So that would get us, this 51 we can't take yet. So that would get us to 52 by, the end of election day, the day after, or after the 4 weeks that Pennsylvania figures out that they can't cheat enough to win. So Rudy's ultimate prediction, when it all sorts out, after, I would say 52 to 50, 52 to 40, 50, yeah, 52 to 49 it would be, right? Yep. Yep. And then it will eventually, the Democrat number, I would say it's going to be on election night or the day after, it's going to be 50 to 48. And by December, it's going to be 53-47. And this is the result of the runoff that's going to take place in Georgia. So now, let me show you this. I'm going to keep this. I may dress it up a little. I may dress this up a little for you. I want it to look pretty because all my staff and everyone, doesn't like me writing because they all write better than I do. But I wanted to show you that this comes from me to you as my present. This is the sum and substance of everything I've learned in politics, having run for mayor 3 times, having almost run for the Senate, having run for president for 11 months, having been the chief surrogate for John McCain, the keynote speaker at the Republican convention in 2004, a major surrogate for Bush in 2004, and a less so because I was going through prostate cancer in 2000 for Bush, but was there in Florida on the last weekend of the campaign at the request of Karl Rove because he sent everybody to Florida, and I went there going through cancer treatments. Took the weekend off. My doctor said, "You're crazy." I said, Al Gore can't be president. And do you know, on September 11, after the first building came down, I was trapped and almost died with my close friends, Bernie Kerik and Denny Young. We were outside when the second building came down, and I grabbed their arms and I said, "Thank God Al Gore isn't the president and George Bush is." And that's why I worked hard, in case something like that would happen. Because I knew that Bush had the word. And I'll give you the Italian word. I knew that Bush had the cojones to strike back so they wouldn't hit us again. And I knew Gore would do even less than Clinton. Like, oh, there's an empty field. Let me drop a bomb there. There's an empty field. Let me drop a bomb there. And then, like Obama, I've got a red line here. Yeah, you cross that red line and I'm going to bomb you. They crossed the red line. 12 times later, Putin's got to come in and do the job for him. Or Biden, leaving $85 billion worth of equipment for the terrorists. You can't vote Democrat. Under Biden, they're giving our country away. They want illegals to come in and vote. They won't be in America. They're not building a military. China has a bigger navy. Please. We're doing the game of politics here. That's the reality of politics. I voted already. I don't mind telling you I voted straight Republican, of course, in New York. I voted for Lee Zeldin enthusiastically. Lee Zeldin's our last hope in New York. Vote for him. Let's get to the House now, after we take this short break. Not long ago, Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and his team fit me for my very own MyPillow. They also introduced me to their wide assortment of other incredible products, like their mattress topper, their sheets, towels, slippers, and more. Sleep is incredibly important to me, and I can assume for all of you. It's time you give MyPillow a try and see for yourself. Listeners have helped build MyPillow into the incredible company it is today, and Mike Lindell wants to give back to all of you. You can get great discounts on MyPillow products by going to mypillow.com right now and seeing each of the specially priced items, including those in the radio listener special square. You're going to see rotational offers up to 66% off on products like their pillows, mattress topper, Giza sheets, but also new products like their slippers, weighted blankets, robes, and waffle blankets. All MyPillow products come with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Enter promo code RUDY for these great specials. That's mypillow.com and use the promo code RUDY. We are back again, and I think, the House will go through a little bit faster because the House is not a question of if there will be Republican control, but how big will it be? And once again, we have the Democrat-leaning Cook report running behind sort of the averages, either from Real Clear Politics that you can work out or the averages that one can do by themselves. I'll just give you an example quickly. You'll see up there the House forecast as of today, November 2nd, 2022. It says 200 Democrats, 223 Republicans. That's like the most that it could be, and that is I'd say that one is kind of almost right on the money. Now you look at this one, and this is the Cook report. This is Cook again. The Cook political report 2022 House ratings, and they're at only 212 to 188. So you got 11 more Republican votes predicted by Real Clear Politics and some of the other averages of polls. And I would say the races that so here's how it goes. Here's how it goes in the House, so you know how you get there, and you get rid of Mrs. Pelosi, who should be. This will be the second time we get rid of her, or the third. I don't remember. Remember the first time in 2010? It was so satisfying. I went around the country campaigning against her. I did 50 House races that year. The year that we won, big. So here's the House, and here are the House numbers. I mean, currently it's here are Dems, here are Republicans. Okay. Currently it's 220 Dems to 212 Republicans. I mean, that's 8. That's an 8-vote margin, right? Ain't much, babes. That ain't much. Now let's do set. How many are set for the Dems right now? And this is according to we're going to use the map that you now see up on the board, the 223 to 200 map. That's the one we're going to be using right now, the 223 to 200. I think that's the closest to where it comes out. I mean, there are people putting Republicans at 240, so I'm not going all the way. There are very few, except Cook, that have them down to 200 or 210 or whatever the small number was that they had. So set for Republicans. Absolutely 100% set for Republicans. And Democrats are 153 for the Dems. This one, there's no possible, I don't know, could one person fall off this? Yeah, but no, this is like almost definite. It's not as definite as the Senate, because they're all up for re-election in the House. So, you gotta live with that. Then we do have likely in the House, and likely in the House, 23 Dems, 17 Republicans. Okay? Remember, this was where they are. This is where they. So that's 5, right? 7. So now we're up to 175 Dems, right? We're up to 202 Republicans. That's with the likelies and the set. Okay? Now we go to the leans. These are the closer races, right? The leans. And there we go, 19, 18. Okay? 19, 18. Those are the leans. So we got, this was 176, by the way. 153 and 23, 6, 7, 176. We got the Dems up to 185. And we got the Republicans up to 220. Okay? Okay? Then we have tilt. And those are all Dems. So now we're at 200 to 220. Okay? 200 to 220. And then we have 5 still toss-ups, of which they're willing to say that 3 look more likely Repub. 2 they can't tell yet. So this will get you to 223. And let's say the Dems get the other 2 leaners, it's 202. Which gives you a 21 vote margin, which is pretty darn good. So we'll save that again for the last time. Maybe we'll make some kind of gentleman's bet or something. Okay? We'll see. We'll see where that all comes from. Who it involves, what it's up to, and what you and I both think will be the outcomes there. So if we want to take a look at the toss-ups in the 223 to 200 map, you'd have to go through this. We've got Adam Gray and John Duarte and David Valadeo and Rudy Sachs in California. Those are among the toss-ups. We've got the race in Illinois 17th with Eric Sorensen and Esther King. We've got Jared Golden and Bruce Poliquin in Maine's second. We've got Slotkin and Tom Barrett, one of the really, really close ones, and one of the really important ones in Missouri's 7th district. Very close, very hard fought. A lot of money going into that race. And at this point, Slotkin has less than a 1-point lead. You want me to go back over the other ones to help you with them? Jared and Poliquin being the Republican, is up by 6.1%, which looks like one that I could take my little red pen. I could take my little red pen and go, okay, Republicans. Now let's look at the next one. The next one is The next one is the one that Sherry Bustos, who left, and Eric Sorensen and Esther King are running, and Sorensen has a 7.8% lead. So, unlike the last one, this one looks like this one is in the other direction, right? This one is in the other direction, even though it's still a toss-up. It looks like at 7.8, if that is a valid average, the Republican is going to have a little trouble. And Slotkin and Barrett, I would say you'd have to call it even right now. It's a 0.9% lead, and these are the only ones that are in doubt. Duarte and Gray in California, and Salas and Valadeo in California. The Democrats have double-digit leads in both. So unless the red wave really spreads, those don't look like an additional pickup. Although Missouri does, and Slotkin and Barrett looks like a real possibility. The others are Angie Craig and Tyler Kistner in Minnesota, with the Democrat up there, Angie Craig, by 7. Susie Lee and April Becker, where the Democrats up by 6.7, and that's in Nevada. And an open seat in New York with Riley and Molinaro, where the Democrat is up 4.7. Molinaro's going to win that seat. How do you like that? I'm willing to call that one on my own. I've interviewed him. I know him. I know that district. I say Molinaro wins that seat. That'll be move these numbers around by 1. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the House. It's definite. It's a question of, is it going to be the 10 votes, or is it going to be the 21 that I'm predicting, or will it be the 30 or 40 that Newt Gingrich is predicting? I'm hoping Newt Gingrich is right, and I apologize to my good friend Newt. Both of us thought the election was over on election night 2020 when Philadelphia hit 800,000. We both said, can't overcome that lead. But maybe we're not so off. So I'm going to give you just a quick, and we'll be finished quickly, because I'm going to do it quickly. I'm going to just give you a quick idea of what the Democrat races look like, okay? So the Democrat races are basically like this. And I'll put the map up, and I'll just read you these. And then if we have time on the last show, we'll go through it in more detail. We've got 12 Republican, this particular case, we got 12 Republicans. We have 12 Democrats said and 19 Republicans. We've got 5 likelies for both, 3 leans and 1 lean. So we're at 25-20 with the Republicans. We're at 25-20 with the Republicans. Another 25 governors, Republicans go in pretty much assured they're going to have half the governorships. And the ones up to give us the 5 more are Wisconsin, Kansas, Arizona, Nevada, and Oregon. Kansas would normally be a Republican state. That's Laura Kelly and Derek Schmidt. And I would say that that's going to stay Repub, which will get you to 26 Republican seats as governor. And I would say Arizona will go Republican. Carrie Lake has put on one of the best campaigns I've seen, and Hobbs has refused to debate her because she is nothing like the candidate that Kerry is. And I would say that would get us to a safe 27. Could we win all 5? I'd say probably Nevada, for sure. The closest of those. Wisconsin would be next, and Oregon would be the least likely. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us come out with a 30-20 lead in governorships. Maybe the more likely choice is 28 to, maybe the most likely choice is 28 governorships. That might be the likely one to 22. So there are the final results from me as of today. I'm going to keep them all here. I'm going to work on it all weekend. I'm going to ask you to vote. I did. Vote early. Get it in. I mean, it's really, really important that we do that. You know that. And I know that. And the future of our country is at stake. We're looking good, but don't get complacent. And remember, we're dealing with a political party that at the very top has rarely been as crooked as it is today. So we'll be back in a few days, and we'll try to get back on Sunday or Monday. So we give you a last ditch. Did anything change? We'll keep these numbers the way they are for the weekend. I'll be campaigning. I'll be getting more information. And we'll be back to you with our final word. Let's call this the penultimate prediction. We'll have the ultimate prediction on Sunday or Monday. God bless you, and God bless America.